Nobody really thought much about the rivers. There was really the back door to the city.
Well, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and our mothers always told us never go near the rivers. If you go in those rivers, you're going to melt.
These side dump cars full of hot slag, dump that slag down the river, into the river, and it hissed up. It was like being near a volcano. It was this red hot slag. That was the entertainment.
It was unthinkable then that millions of people would use the riverfronts for a destination and for recreation.
For 150 years, it had been industrial and polluted. And so a lot of people didn't instinctively see that potential that Murphy did.
My big first interest was really to get the riverfronts. Back then, people saw them as liabilities, but really the riverfronts were the best properties in Pittsburgh.
There was already the beginning of a network of riverfront trails that Murphy had just done because he knew the potential of it.
I wanted every square foot of the riverfront to be a public park and trail.
Riverlife got started 25 years ago by really the titans of Pittsburgh at that time.
John Craig, who's the editor of the Post-Gazette, takes the initiative to get Max King, who's in running the Heinz Endowment, and Paul O'Neill, who's just opened their new headquarters building on the riverfront, and they create the Riverlife Task Force.
Dad really loved water, and Riverlife was really something he felt deeply about, like that needed to be done.
They had this incredible vision of Pittsburgh's riverfronts. Everyone, no matter what their background is, can spend some time on the rivers and have their lives enriched.
So the flashpoint for Riverlife really begins on a boat ride in August of 1999, where civic leaders, politicians, folks from the corporate community and the philanthropic community were challenged by the late great author and historian David McCullough.
We decided we would organize a riverfront tour on one of the Gateway Clipper fleet boats. After we'd gone up and down the rivers, we sort of parked. David was up at a podium, and behind him were all the windows of the boat with the skyline of Pittsburgh behind him.
The primary theme of his discussion was to make the rivers a place to bring people that you love.
For us, that served as the creation of a vision for Pittsburgh's riverfronts and really galvanized the region around this idea that the riverfronts could be for public use, right? That it should be our front door.
This was deemed an almost impossible problem. How do we give them the resources they need to do all this incredible work? With all the funders and the expert staff at Riverlife, they managed to pull it off.
There are two moments that really epitomize the potential of the rivers. One was an enormous, oversized yellow rubber ducky that was floating on the rivers, and every riverbank, every bridge was absolutely packed with people. It was a riot of celebration. The other was the reopening of Point State Park Fountain. We created the splash pool so that people could interact and touch the water. When we opened up, people flooded into the park and jumped into the water. It was a whole new way of having people come to the riverfronts of just playing for fun.
Riverlife has managed to be so effective because it's able to build all those partnerships with organizations, have the technical expertise of how to do very complicated infrastructure projects through the lens of thinking about how users use it, and get stuff done. That's the track record that we're building on today with completing the loop.
The loop is a 15-mile, 1,000-plus acre geography of open space and parks and trails. Through our analysis, we had determined that it is about 85% complete in terms of the connections, right? There are key gaps. The vision was really the first chapter. Completing the loop is the second chapter with the eye for delivering on that original promise. We need to make sure that the riverfronts are replete with attractions and amenities that draw families to these places, and to ensure that the riverfronts are clean, right? But the beauty of our work is that our kids, our grandkids, are going to be able to see the improvements that we are going to make. The passion we have stems from that idea that it's now and it's the future.